Hello, everyone. Welcome in. I am Tammy Mastroberte, founder of Elevated Existence and publisher and editorial director of the award-winning Elevated Existence magazine. I am here today and so excited to share with you Sonia Choquette, New York Times best-selling author Sonia Choquette. And we are here today to talk about her new book. Those of you who know her work, she really teaches a lot about intuitive guidance, tapping into your own intuition and accessing your guides and really living your life in that sixth sensory world. And today we're talking about her new book, which is really, it's about those teachings, but it's really a departure, and I'm really excited about it. I actually have it here. It's called Walking Home, and it's a pilgrimage from humbled to healed. She actually traveled the famous Camino de Santiago and kept a journal of sorts and really explains that trip in the book. So today this is what we're going to be talking about. Sonia, thank you so much for joining us, and welcome and congratulations on the book.
Thank you. I'm so delighted to be with you and share with you what an incredibly life-altering experience that I had on the Camino.
Yes, and it really, you can gather that from the book and the way you talk about it. It really it makes you, so kind of excited about, and there's other people that have talked about it. Everybody's experience is different, but there's kind of those universal experiences, and it really kind of gets you excited about the experience.
Well, the reason I wrote the book, first of all, I never intended to write the book, but I did keep the notes.
Right.
And it was such a life-altering experience, and one that I was catapulted into because I experienced myself so much dramatic loss and death and betrayal and divorce, and my life matrix shattered. And yet at the same time there was an intense inner knowing that there were many parts of my life that I had chosen as a spiritual person and as a spiritual seeker and teacher to just overcome, just not let them bother me. I would forgive, I would rise above, I would push it away, I wouldn't let it deter me, but all of that came crashing back in on me. Heartache and trauma and self-doubt and insecurity and grief, and I just felt that this huge embodiment of my human journey came back home to say, deal with me. Don't just try to get over me. And I prayed for, how do I do that so I could be back into congruency with my energy, that I could feel truly authentic at the deepest level. And that's what my guidance said, walk the Camino. And surely was guidance, because I don't even hike to the store. I mean, this is 580-mile journey, and I just broke my knee, and it was like, what? But I also know enough about guidance that I said yes, in pure faith, with my fingers crossed, and went for it.
Yeah, and what I love about it too is kind of in the beginning of the book you set up, this is what was going on in my life, and this is what brought me to it, and even throughout the book, the lessons that you've learned, you really open up and are so honest about, here I am, this intuitive teacher, here I am, this spiritual, teacher and guide, and here are all the problems that I have, just like everybody else. And here, you just put it all out there. You laid it all out on the table, and it's so open and honest. So was that something you said you didn't intend to write the book, but how was that process for you, really kind of putting it out there and taking the masks off and showing everybody what was going on with you?
Well, I have no problem being transparent, and I've always been a teacher who has said, look, I'm with you. I'm not on the other side here. We're all in it together. And so in that regard, I found it not at all a problem. What was surprising to me, and I welcomed, was how many parts of my life I thought I had sort of healed up. But in fact, what I had done is sealed up.
Right.
instead of healed up. So they came flying back, angers I felt were incongruent with my self-image and with my aspirations on a spiritual level, but still they were there. And profound disappointments and real wounding and righteous indignation. It's like, I've been doing my part. How can this happen? And why is this happening? And what I learned as I was so transparent was it's all holy. All those experiences are valid, and we need to, like I said, heal them up rather than seal them up.
Right.
And so in sharing everything, I wanted to say to people, this is my journey, and perhaps if you also have had the experience that we just need to sort of push our woundedness aside or try to spiritualize ourselves through it, maybe we just need to be with it, and it will heal itself if we can accept it without shame.
Right. And one of the things you say in the book is that it was on day one, and you literally kind of journal every day. It goes from day one to day, I think it was like 34 or something. And on day one, you say, I've heard that the Camino gives you a gift every day. And, so each day, there's some type of insight, some type of lesson, some type of gift. And on day one, you kind of start off on this trek, and immediately your thoughts start going to, anger with your father who had passed and all this stuff. Were you surprised at how quickly it started happening from literally that first day?
Yes. What I learned from the Camino and from this pilgrimage is the things I had pushed away the most and had decided I'm going to be okay with just because it's my karma or these are my soul lessons. Whoa, it came flying up, and I realized there was a part of me that was frozen in time, and that was my wounded child. And she came screaming out, and it was like, whoa. And what was interesting is I was right back at those feelings. I was right back in those energies. I was right back in those experiences. But rather than trying to silence those feelings, I just walked with them. I just walked with those frozen energies. And as I walked with them, it's sort of like when someone rages, but if they feel heard, you calm down.
Right.
You start to relax. Just hearing those parts of me without judgment, just allowing those wounded parts of me to have a voice without trying to fix it, was a big healing for me. I just was willing to listen without trying to make it different. And in that listening to my own and articulating my own inner dialogue without trying to control it, it healed itself. And that was just such an aha for me.
And that's the other thing too, is that kind of so many of the lessons that you learned throughout those days and that you share in the book, whether it's forgiveness or love, self-love, letting go, things like that. As you kind of talk about these burdens or past burdens and release them, the reader also gains that insight that as you're going through it, the reader is also gaining that insight. And so
I think that's true. I think that the reader gets to walk with me.
Yes, 100%. And so I feel like other people can see themselves and their problems through what you have gone through in your life, because so many of us have so many universal problems and issues. They might be slightly different, but a lot of the themes are the same. So what would you say were kind of some of maybe the biggest lessons or healings that you had, if you had to pick a few throughout this trek that you went on?
I think the biggest lesson was the lesson of trusting my body. Trusting my body to help heal me. Trusting the energy flowing through my body, trusting the walk, trusting nature, my human physical nature, as a holy expression, trusting being in nature as giving me something that I really needed, and being present to all my experiences as holy, as opposed to trying to make some of them holier because they, you know, I've been taught, I'm a good Catholic girl, and I've been in spiritual training since I was a child, that we create our own reality, and we have karma, and everything that happens to us happens for a reason, and all of that's well and good, but just to be with the experience instead of trying to package it up and make it mean something, just be with it.
Right.
Just be with it, and it will find its own way to higher ground. It'll find its own way to a higher vibration. You see what I mean?
Yes, absolutely.
And that for me was the biggest lesson. For me it was the lesson of, and I really have to say, Tammy, I think it was the lesson of femininity. The earth, the body, the emotions, the feelings, and really embracing them as holy and good in the deepest level. That was probably my biggest aha.
Right, awesome. And so at one point toward the end of the book, I know you kind of contemplate, okay, we're nearing the end of this journey, and you've gone through so much, you've released so much, you're feeling, really just so amazing. You feel like the burdens have been lifted, and you say, I wonder, am I going to be able to go home and kind of carry this with me? And it reminded me of, whether someone's attending one of your workshops, or, you go to these workshops for a weekend or maybe a week, and you say, oh my God, I just feel so amazing, and now I have to go home, and oh no, like, so many people say, I don't want to leave because they think, am I going to be able to carry
it's like
this?
It's on Teflon, it slips off.
Right, exactly. So my question is, how did that work for you when you got home? Were there additional lessons you were learning in that adjustment, or what has really kind of changed in you now that you were able to bring with you?
Well, one thing I did change is that as a sensitive person, as an intuitive, I've been in my life very reactive to energy. And so there's always been maybe a little bit of anxiety that I've staved off with meditation and prayer, and that's gone now.
Okay.
And I believe I attribute that to really the clearing of those old traumas in my body. They were there. They were held in my cells, and when I walked, that went away.
Okay.
That went away. And that is the greatest gift. And it created in place its space. There's open space. I'm available. It's like whatever comes, I now fully accept and embrace is that it'll be good. It may be a challenge, it may be a difficulty, but it'll be good. It's not an opportunity for me to be better. It's an opportunity for me to become more available to who I am.
Right.
So that's probably the lasting change.
Okay. And when did you actually, you said you weren't intending to write a book. When did you decide, I need to put this out there? And then what are you hoping that people garner from the book?
Well, what happened is when I returned from the Camino, I had to go immediately to Australia for an event that my publisher puts on called I Can Do It. I was one of the speakers. Okay. So I went to dinner with my publisher and a group of people, and because I had just gotten off the Camino, I was telling him about my experience and just saying I just had this most incredible experience. And he listened for a while, and he said, "You have to write about this." And I said, well, I have no intention. I didn't have an intention of writing about it. I just had the intention of healing my own life. And he said, please write about this. I think this could be very healing to other people going through difficulty. And I did realize that with my clients, with my students, that what I've just gone through was nothing exceptional, that everybody is going through tremendous loss and tremendous transition right now, and that perhaps my journey could be helpful. So I said, okay, I'll write about it and we'll see what happens. I'll just tell you what happened to me, and then you decide if that is something worth sharing. And that's how the book came to be.
Okay. Okay. And honestly, I love the whole journey. People really will get a lot out of it, and even just the synchronicities along the way were just, I mean, I just kept smiling while I was reading it, because I mean, here you are, you know, going through difficulties in your marriage to someone named Patrick, and then you're on this Camino and you run into two people named Patrick, one of who you really became very friendly with. And I thought, oh my gosh, like it's just so cool how these things really line up for us. And so reading your journey really highlights that for people as well.
It really was. It was hilarious how much it was a mirror. It was hilarious. It was like, really, Camino? Really? And I had to laugh. I mean, I had another dramatic experience with the dark angels. It's like I meet these two people when I'm in my total last few days, total bliss, and they're awful.
Right.
They're so negative. And then I so negative, I got up from the table and left. I was like, I gotta go. I couldn't deal. And then I won't even give it away, but they became a big surprise.
Yes.
And I knew enough to say, wow, this happened for a reason. What on earth could the reason be? Because they were so unpleasant.
Right.
So I'll just leave it at that, and it's a surprise.
Yes, exactly.
Surprise me.
Yes, and it's so awesome to read about, because you make that connection. You think, oh my goodness, and there's another lesson in that that's kind of universal as well. So so it's very cool. So thank you so much for joining us. Congratulations again on the book and for completing the Camino. And again, everyone, it's Walking Home, and it's available now. And thank you so much, and thank you for your continued work with intuition, and thank you for joining us. And I can't wait to speak with you again for your next book.
Thank you, Tammy, and all my love to you and all the Elevated Existence readers.
Thank you so much. We'll see you guys next time.